Am I the asshole for my sister ending her pregnancy and possibly her marriage? I, M32, have two older brothers, M38 and M40, and a sister, F34. Note the age differences. Our dad passed away 5 years ago in our hometown, a more suburban town in Wisconsin. Our family was relatively modest when my brothers grew up, so they were cared for a lot by my parents' families who are very conservative. My dad personally was not. By the time me and my sister were born, our dad's career was doing great and we were well off. Me and my sister have masters while our brothers didn't go to college despite the funds and chances. My mom had been trying to set my sister up with a churchgoer's kid. This didn't progress until around the time my dad died and my sister came back and helped with the funeral. My brothers' families are both in town as well. I worked in tech in China then and live in SF now, and since the funeral have been mostly LC with everyone except my sister. Honestly, I was very close with my dad and there was obvious favoritism towards me which the others didn't like. So, my mom and oldest brother now technically live in my house. My sister somehow ended up leaving her career and moving back. She married the man my mom set her up with in 2019. I honestly was in shock at the wedding. I really didn't ever see my sister living on a farm and becoming a stay-at-home mom. I knew for a fact my mom and brothers had a huge part in this, because there were a lot of "she's back home" posts. Later I found out that she had pretty much given all her savings to her husband. Late 2020, my sister, straight out of the blue, started calling me and just chatting about things. I, of course, love this. Early in 2021, my mom told me she was pregnant. I immediately asked my sister about this and she kinda broke down. In short, the husband has been abusive, she's broken my family and her in-laws haven't helped. My oldest brother wailed at her about how his wife went through the same thing and my sister should stop thinking she's special. The first time she called me, he had kicked her out of their home for complaining about their finances. This was fairly common. This is where AITA. I basically yelled at her too. I told her that she had a career which she can still go back to and I can help her move back to NYC, where she worked, studied before. And that the pregnancy wasn't the end of it and there were other options. The next day she asked me for $5,000 which I sent to her without asking. I didn't hear much after and didn't intrude cause it was a total mindfuck. A month later my sister told me she had gotten a new job in NYC and filed for divorce. The pregnancy is also no longer on the table. Now my family has been blowing up my social media calling me all sorts of shit. I've in general called them shit back as well and the home might be on the market soon. My sister needed to switch apartments and got a restraining order against her ex and well, things aren't great, but I'm happy my sister is better. So am I the asshole? Edit. I messed up a date and fixed some grammar. Edit. Wow, I just woke up and did not expect a response like this. Thank you everyone, this helps a lot. I saw a couple of posts mentioned they had been in the same predicament as my sister and I'd really like to say that you aren't alone. Please reach out to those you have ever been close to. Not the asshole. 2 words. Abusive husband. You did her a favor. You're not the asshole for helping your sister get out of an abusive relationship. You probably saved her life, especially since he is now stalking her in NYC. Not the asshole. I would probably kick your mom and oldest brother out of your house for how they treated your sister. Oh my goodness, not the asshole. You saved your sister's life and I'm so sorry that you have to deal with a family like that. Listen, I'm sorry to say this, but you have to distance yourself away from your mother and brothers. Go full NC. They obviously don't care about the well-being of their own and your brother is possibly being harmful towards his wife in some way, just a guess. They will probably try to harass your sister. Guilt her, blame her, make her feel like she is the epitome of the worst thing, because she didn't go and fit into their old-fashioned views of a woman getting married, having babies, and being the picture of a domestic housewife who lets the men make all of the decisions, while she sits back in the background and looks pretty. Not the asshole. Your sister was in an abusive marriage and you were the only one who didn't tell her to suck it up. You gave her the means to get out and change her life and that makes you the hero. Good for you and for your sister for knowing her worth. Not the asshole. And what the hell is this? Wife went through the same thing. Did your brother just confess to being abusive? Your brothers and mother didn't lift a finger to help your abused sister. Do you really care what they think of you? Not the asshole. You are the only one that cared for her welfare. The others just cared about their own wants. She's close to home, easy to control or manipulate. You need to give me a grand baby stage, etc. Your brother also sounds abusive, saying his wife complained about the same thing and your sister isn't special. Good on you for helping her, the rest of your selfish family would have left her in that marriage to become another statistic. Many years ago, I was in trouble, and turned to my big brother to help. No questions asked, he was there for me 100%. Financially, emotionally, and privately. He kept our secret until the day he died. He was forever my hero, and I miss him, every day. Bless you for your kindness. She'll never forget, I promise heart. Am I the asshole for refusing to fly with my ex even though we're going to the same wedding and share kids? So, my ex's cousin is getting married soon. Our families are friends, so I got invited. The wedding is in a different country and my ex suggested that we, me, him and our kids, fly together, but I said no. He then told me he would be taking our kids since it was technically his custody time the day of his flight, so I agreed and said I would see them there then, which he didn't like. He thinks I'm being stubborn and ridiculous by refusing to just all go together, and after realizing none of his attempts to convince me were working, is now angry at me. Every time we interact he mentions it and it always turns into an argument. Some of the things he said to try to convince me were that the kids would like it. It would make childcare easier for both of us since flying with small children can be hard. It would be free and easy for me since he would handle everything, etc. My family also think I'm being stubborn and that I should just agree. Am I the asshole for refusing? Not the asshole. It would make childcare easier for both of us since flying with small children can be hard. Your ex just doesn't want to deal with the kids on the plane. Not the asshole. For the people not paying attention. Location flag, 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 revolving light, revolving light, revolving light, revolving light. That is her ex. He is trying to control Op and force her to spend time with him. If this was just about the kids, guess what, it's his days and he will have them. There is no reason for Op to be with him. It's not any different if they had been at home swapping kids like normal. Why is the ex demanding that Op must be with him? Her kid-free time is her time to do as she pleases. If she wants to be with her boyfriend while he has the kids, then that's her choice. Repeat. It's her ex. He doesn't get the pleasure of her company anymore. And him using the kids as an excuse is just wrong. It amazes me how many people are mad at the Op for essentially abiding by the dictates of her divorce. Like, ex is like, would you like to go with me? And she's like, no, and then he's like, I have custody, and she's like, so you do, and then he got butthurt about it. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Part of breaking up with someone means you no longer have to do a damn thing they say. I don't blame you for not wanting to fly together. Him saying it makes kid stuff easier is basically him saying he expects you to deal with it all. Let's be honest, more is usually placed on the mom. I'd totally book my own flight and travel in peace. It's his parenting time, so you deserve a break. Just like the one you'd have if y'all weren't traveling and it was his time. Despite what some people think, you don't need a valid why. You may just not want to, and that's totally okay. I'd rather chew off my own arm as to ever have to be in the same room with my ex-husband, let alone a small space, airplane. Not the asshole. He specifically said he'd have the kids because it's his custody time. You agreed. He doesn't get to have you while having the kids. You're an adult. He is responsible for the kids during his time. And it sounds like you don't want to be around him, saddled with handling the childcare during his custody time, which is completely reasonable. It's no his choice. Ha 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 ha, no, not the asshole. Enjoy being single on your international flight. Not the asshole. He made it clear that the children would be flying with him since it fell under his scheduled time with them, so he deserves to have this time with them to himself, per usual. I'm assuming he's not offering to pay for your ticket, so it should be of no concern to him how or when you get there. Not the asshole. Some of the comments here are so annoying. Why do not you want to go? Because Op and her ex have broken up and she doesn't want to go. He asked, she said no. And last time I checked Reddit Louvs to remind people that no is a complete sentence. She is not legally or morally obligated to go. She doesn't want to go. The ex would most likely saddle her with most of the child care of their kids. Or maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he just wants to try to weasel his way back in her life. Or maybe he doesn't. It doesn't really matter whether he has ulterior motives or not. Op does not want to go with ex. And that's all that matters. Am I the asshole for not allowing a middle-aged woman to take my exit row seat? I, 18F, was flying back to campus after Thanksgiving break. Every time I fly, my parents and I make sure to check me in immediately as soon as check-in opens so I can get in boarding group A and get a window seat. So I was one of the first people to board and got a window seat in the exit row. There's 2 seats specifically in the exit row on either side with no seat directly in front of them, allowing you to fully stretch out your legs. I'm very tall, so it's appreciated. So I was already settled into my seat, and the last few people came on. Suddenly, a larger-bodied, middle-aged woman appeared and said, "Excuse me. You aren't old enough to sit in this row, sweetie. And I need that seat because I need extra room." And I was like, I've been sitting in the exit row since I was 15, the age when you're legally allowed to. I'm entitled to this seat. And she said, "No, I'm entitled to that seat because I paid for a ticket, and I have the right to fly comfortably. The other seats don't give me enough room to sit comfortably. And at your age, you don't have enough flight experience to do the exit row duties properly." And I was mad by then and said, "Sweetie, I've been on hundreds of flights. Probably more than you. I have plenty of frequent flyer miles. And I don't want to be rude at all," but she did not look very mobile or like she could do the exit row procedures quickly. The flight attendant came to see what the hold-up was. And the woman said, "This little girl stole my seat. She's not old enough to sit here, and the other seats are too small for me." Which I vehemently denied and told her what actually happened. The flight attendant told the woman she was causing a scene and to go sit in one of the other open seats. As she walked away, the woman muttered, "Little bitch," at me. I'm quite shaken as I've never had a plane confrontation in all the times I've flown. Am I the asshole for engaging and protecting my seat? Not the asshole. She forced you to engage, and the fact the flight attendant sided with you shows that you did nothing wrong. If she wanted an exit row seat, she should have checked in sooner. I make sure to check me in immediately as soon as check-in opens so I can get in boarding group A and get a window seat. The joys of flying Southwest. I set up alerts on the app so I could get a notification when boarding opened up, just so I could get the A group. I also signed up for early bird check-in for that very reason. Not the asshole. Not your fault or responsibility that she didn't have the foresight or initiative to check in earlier to avoid the scenario. She's just being a big entitled bully. Not the asshole. You took the seat you were entitled to, and are not asshole for keeping it. The other person is sasshole for trying to bully you out of it, whether it was a man or woman of any age, for any reason. Not the asshole, she was just trying to intimidate you out of your seat. Don't play these people's games, and good on you for standing up for yourself. If she needs room, then she should have upgraded to A, preferred boarding, or flown with an airline with larger seats, or booked 2 seats if she can't fit in a regular one. Her problems are not yours to solve. Not the asshole. That woman tried to bully you out of your seat, and tried to cause a scene when you wouldn't give in. If she desperately wanted the seat so badly, she should have checked in earlier. Not the asshole. And #X200B. You stood up for yourself. You handled that well. She was in awe. Has anyone ever called a stranger sweetie and it wasn't demeaning? Not the asshole. She just felt entitled to your seat and is a grumpy old aw. Hope your flight was comfortable. Not the asshole in the slightest. You were sitting in your seat. If she wanted that seat, the option was there for her to have done the exact same things you did to get the seat. Book early, check in early, yada yada. Or to fly with an airline with designated seating and pay the premium for it. Sucks to be her, since her attitude reveals her to be an aw. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for insisting to only communicate with my ex via text or email? My ex, Brad, and I have an 8-year-old son, Ryan, together. We are high conflict to say the least. Brad and I both have attorneys and currently 50-50 custody, but for other reasons I'm hoping to seek primary. Brad has a tendency to lie about exchanges between us. I know this. So now when he calls, I reject the call and send him a text asking him to text or email me what he needs to say so I have documentation of it. Recently, Ryan was sent home from school sick on my time and I let Brad know our son wasn't feeling well. He suggested I get Ryan a, you-know-what, test, which I agreed with and did the same day. This was over text. Later, Brad went complaining to his lawyer that I knew Ryan was sick and refused to get the test done, and that I knowingly and willfully endangered Ryan's health by refusing to get him tested. That was not true. The next day when I picked up Ryan's results, I immediately snapped a pic of them. They were negative and sent it to Brad in a text along with a message from the doctor saying it was recommended to keep Ryan out of school for the rest of the week and I'd pick up his makeup work. Again, Brad goes running to his lawyer claiming I'm being a bad mom and now I'm forcing Ryan to miss school and fall behind on assignments. This time his lawyer reaches out to mine and is up in arms, fully backing Brad's allegations and threatening me with court. My lawyer calls me to relay what Brad and his lawyer were saying and ask me what the hell is going on. So I sent him all the screenshots of the conversation I'd had with Brad, proof that nothing he was saying was at all true. I also told my lawyer that with Brad's tendencies to lie I will no longer be answering if he, Brad, calls and will only communicate via text or email. I informed Brad of this as well. Now Brad is saying I'm inhibiting communication regarding Ryan and it's hurting our son because if there's an emergency and he calls me he won't be able to get in touch with me as easily. I told Brad that's his fault because of his lies. He's claiming I'm willing risk and hurt Ryan to be petty to him. Am I the asshole? OMG, my apologies for the typos. I'm on mobile. Not the asshole. This one looks like pretty cut and dry to me, folks. Not the asshole, and I might even suggest going a step further and requesting that all of your communications be through either a court-approved app or in writing with approved parties attached at all times. That way communication outside of this does not exist. Also him claiming these falsehoods should help you get primary custody. If he has a predilection for lying about your son's well-being, thank your stars because it's happening real time and hopefully your lawyer is recording all of these interactions with his lawyer as well. Honestly, they should just be entering motions to the court if he truly feels you're endangering your son, so even the attorney calling yours that way sounds past mediation and negotiation. This sounds like bulldozing. Best of luck. Not the asshole, but I'd go one step further and petition the courts to test Brad's mental state. Is he actually forgetting these conversations as soon as they happen, and is that a safe person to be in charge of a child? Put in real consequences for his lying and see how his selective amnesia clears up real quick. Not the asshole. In emergencies they actually say it's better to text because calls don't always get picked up. He knows texting will catch him out and even more reason to keep it that way. Or allow his calls to go to voicemail. That will keep a record of what he has said. How terrible his actions, words have caught up on him. I'm sure his lawyer isn't impressed either. Not the asshole. Child of divorce here. My mom had to deal with my dad lying too. You have to do what's best for you. If you really want to grind his gears, record the phone calls? That's what she did, and used that in court so she could get primary custody. At the end of the day, do what's best for your kid. Because if he's gonna gaslight you, he's probably gonna gaslight them. I know that firsthand. Good luck op. NTA. You aren't inhibiting communication at all. He has plenty of avenues to contact you. As long as your lawyer says it's on the up and up, keep doing what you're doing. Not the asshole. Absolutely, you're protecting yourself and your son. However, you could also tell him that he can call in an emergency, and make sure you have a call recorder on your phone and record all voice calls. That will protect you again as it shows you're willing to take calls in an emergency. When he calls, literally say, "Is this an emergency?" If he says no, say, "Please text or email." But if it is an emergency, you're available. Not the asshole. If no one has mentioned already, I would say have a copy of everything that is said. I would recommend you look into a co-parenting app. I saw this from a different Am I the Asshole advice post. But something like our Family Wizard app which keeps records of everything. I think it is a paid app, but there might be other free versions that do the same.